Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Scored Live from the Big House. My name is Michael Swisher, sitting alongside Jared Mitchel as we come to you from inside State Fair Arena at the end of semifinal Friday here at the Class A and B state tournaments. We're going to concentrate on the Class A boys with this video, and Saturday's state championship game is going to pit a couple of familiar foes against one another, as it's going to be number 1 Fort Cobb-Broxton going for its 5th consecutive state championship, going up against number 6 Surreal, who comes in at 25-4. One of those 25 wins was against Fort Cobb earlier this year. We'll get to a little bit that matchup a little bit later on, but first let's talk about what Surreal did in its semifinal game here at the Big House. And boy, were the Pirates impressive, 80-55 over Okarche. And this was a game just really from the start that Surreal put itself in firm control and never let go of it.
I mean, is there a team in the tournament playing better than they are right now? I mean, and honestly, they're so fun to watch. They do it from all 5 positions. They share the ball so well. I mean, you look at a case of Macklemore, who had, I think, 23 yesterday. He takes 5 shots today. Yeah. And they still score 80 points. And so it's just one of those things where, I don't know that there's a team in the tournament right now playing as well as they are, and they are super confident, and they want to win a state championship badly, and I think that they wanted to play Fort Cobb.
Well, they're going to get their chance, but against Okarche, 11 of 22 from three-point range. You'll take 50% every game of the season if you can get it. 60 or 59.3% overall on the day. Jacoby Casemeyer, 3 of 5. He was hot early on. He hit some big three-pointers early. He finished with 20 points for the Pirates. Ryan Hart with 17 points. Jose Rivera 15. Case and Macklemore only scored 10, but on limited shots. As they just took it to the Warriors. 11 of 22 from three-point range, as we said. Okarche, meanwhile, 5 of 20. And one of the guns that they need to, have a hot hand in a big game like this, Chris Avila, just didn't have it. 0 of 8 from three-point range, as he scored 7 points. And Okarche, 5 of 20 overall from three-point range. Just a tough shooting night for the Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a situation, too, we talk about. First time Okarche's been in this arena in a long time. First time these kids have played in this arena. Yeah. And so it's hard to shoot in here the first time you play. But one thing that stands out to me, too, is 23 turnovers for an Okarche team that is usually really good with the basketball. Yeah. And that's something that I think is, we talked about how well Surreal is offensively. They've been playing really, really good defense. And they made it really hard on Chris today to score the basketball. And like I said, they're just really performing well on both ends of the floor.
Okarche was led by Kayla McCarthy's 11 points. Surreal got out to a 23-9 lead. I said that, they got hot early. Okarche had to call a couple of timeouts in that first quarter, and the Warriors just never really were able to get into it. So that's going to take us on into the second Class A game, and this one followed that one, and it was Fort Cobb 54, Glencoe 40. And the thing that stood out to me is, first of all, you got to say Kellen Hines is one thing that stood out to you. Secondly, Fort Cobb's defense always gets overlooked, and we talk about Surreal. We'll get to it in a second. Surreal being one of the hottest teams. Fort Cobb did beat them, just last week, and that defense is something that plays a huge role. Glencoe scores a lot of points, and here they come in. They score 40. At one point, Kellen Hines had 27, and Glencoe had 26. So just that Fort Cobb defense really just gets overlooked, I think, at times.
Well, absolutely. I was actually talking to a Class A coach on Thursday, and he said, man, people don't realize those kids can defend you. Mm-hmm. And then that's the biggest thing, is because we talked about it last night. They've lost some talent, and so you look at a team that's got some guys back that, they're relying on a lot more of 2 guys to do a lot of the scoring. But defensively, they make it so hard on you to score, and that's why that matchup is so intriguing to me tomorrow night.
Glencoe shot 35% overall, 22% from three-point range, 4 of 18. A lot of 2 or 3 of those were in the fourth quarter once the game was already decided. Cale Lazenby in his final game, 17 points, 10 rebounds. And it should note that this was John Lazenby, the coach's final game, as he announced earlier this week that he's going to retire from coaching after 30 years. Braden Clark, 18 points for them. Those two had a combined 15 field goals. Glencoe had 16 field goals. And, you say it's tough to win a game like that. Well, hold on just a second. Kellen Hines, 12 of 23 from the field. Tyson Eastwood, 8 of 17 from the field. They combined for 20 field goals. How many field goals did Fort Cobb have overall?
21.
It's good math. So, that's their 2 main scorers, and Kellen Hines was the main guy. 35 points, 9 rebounds, as he today became Fort Cobb's all-time leading scorer. He passed a guy named Cameron Hines. You know of him?
I've heard of him, I think. Yeah.
So passed him, and Graydon Steinmetz now drops to number 3 on Fort Cobb's list. So a couple of decent players there. Tyson Eastwood, just a solid player, 16 points, 12 rebounds, and a great second option. Who next year, once Kellen is gone, he's going to be the number 1 guy, and I think we're going to see him light up the scoreboard next year.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's really just coming to his own. Very confident when he steps on a basketball court, and he feels like he's just as good, if not better, than every kid on the floor. And so, like you said, you have that option to go with Kellen. They're just really hard to stop on the offensive end.
If I'd have told you before the game that Fort Cobb was going to go 1 of 19 from 3-point range, you would have said
they're probably going to lose.
Yeah, and here they win by 14 and really kind of cruise through most of that fourth quarter. It's just that defense. They didn't just do anything exceptional on offense, but that defense was just way too much. So it's going to pit number 1 Fort Cobb 24-7, making their 9th finals appearance. They're 7-1 in their previous. Of course, like we said, they've won 4 in a row. 3 of those were in Class A. 1 of those was in Class B. Trying to become the first team ever to win 5 in a row, taking on Surreal. Really just a friendly, neighborly rivalry there between those two schools. Surreal coming on at number 6, 25-4, second finals appearance. They won Class B back in 1938. We weren't here for that one. So they lost to Fort Cobb, 50-49 in last year's semifinal game.
A game they probably should have won.
Yeah. They beat Fort Cobb earlier this year in the regular season. Fort Cobb got them in the area finals. You're the guy who yesterday, if you'll go back and watch our day 1 video, you were 8 of 8 on your semifinal pick. So tell me who's going to win the Class A Boys Championship as they tip off at 1:45 p.m. here at State Fair Arena.
Well, first of all, I will say anybody out there, come watch that game.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you have young kids that play basketball, get to the arena and watch that basketball game, because watching those kids play is so much fun. They're going to be up and down the court. It's going to be a track meet, but they play defense too. And, I'm a big believer in the best players in these atmospheres win those games. I think McLemore and Hines are the 2 best players in that class right now. And so I told you last night, how do you bet against a Fort Cobb team until they lose?
You're about to
I'm
bet
betting against them. I think Surreal is so hot right now, and I think just what you said, that rivalry between the 2 teams, Surreal's never won one. And I just think the way they're playing basketball right now, they just look different to me, and I really think that they're going to win tomorrow.
You watch Kellen Hines, and like I said, they're chasing history. Nobody's won 5 in a row. And when he goes out there and plays, he just looks like a player who doesn't want to be denied. But at the same time, Surreal, going for their first title in the modern era, is there a team that they would want to beat more for that? I mean, you say 2 great players. I mean, 2 really good teams, big rivalry, the biggest stage of them all. I mean, that's going to be an excellent game to watch.
Well, I think, as weird as it sounds, if you're Surreal, you want Fort Cobb. And that's who wants the number 1 team in the state.
Yeah.
Okay, there's not a lot of teams that want ceiling tomorrow, I promise you that. And it's just, but they do, and they feel so confident. I talked to Coach McLemore after their game on Thursday, and I told him, his son played so well. And he goes, yeah, but he's got a lot of good kids around him. And he really does. I mean, they have so many kids that can go score. And I just think they look to me right now as a team that's on a mission. And I really think that they're going to pull that game out.
So there you have it. Jared thinks Surreal will knock off Fort Cobb and deny the Mustangs history. Will it happen? We'll find out. Hopefully you can be here at the Big House. If not, keep up with it on your Scoredle app, as we will basically, just have live time scoring as we always do here at the state tournament. And then after the game, we'll be interviewing players and coaches from the state championship team. So look for that content on your app and on Scoredle.com as well. That's going to do it for the Class A boys. Thank you guys for watching. This is Scoredle Live from the Big House.